So how did we learn about that last story out in Westminster? Well, I read it on CompleteColorado.com, one of the places I go for local news. The editor and founder of it, Scott, why do I keep saying Scott? Todd Shepard. It's the S. It's the S and
Everyone
Shepard.
makes that mistake. Glad to be here, John. I don't know. It's either Scott or Don.
It doesn't matter. It's a great website.
Thanks,
whatever the hell your name is.
Right.
And because the show he hosts just is lagging for ratings, and we thought we'd throw him a bone, from Colorado Inside Out, Dominic Dezzutti.
Now, why would you say the show that precedes yours? You're getting on our tail.
People are tuning into mine, and that's why people are
just a half an hour early. They catch us.
No, they get the last 5 minutes, and you're hoping that you're going to hook them. And it's been working for you. I think it's been great.
We're just so grateful.
By the way,
thank you.
It's a cute little show.
Oh, thank you. Especially the one we had with you last week. You did a great job.
All right, I wanted to talk to you guys about, since both of you do media on a different plane here on Colorado Public Television. What's great about it is, instead of the McNeil-Lair report, which I still call it that, Jim Lair Hour or whatever, these are local issues, and stories like the Westminster story actually forcing landlords to do the government's work of getting people registered.
Right.
I wouldn't know about it if not for CompleteColorado.com. So let me start over here. What's happened to local news? I mean, I know when the Rocky went, so did a whole lot of local coverage, and that's where most of government is.
Well, I mean, even saw today the Post admitting, hey, they've had some growth in digital, but they've had some print losses, which was not a headline for anyone to see that. But it means that there's less money in those organizations for people. So if there's less people out there, there's less reporters going to the local meetings. I mean, I think I heard today there's one City Hall reporter. I mean, we're a major city. I think we're like the 16th biggest market in the entire country, and there's one person from our daily newspaper covering the City Hall. So when it's that few people, you're going to have to rely on different sources, and thank goodness people like Todd at CompleteColorado.com are helping to fill some of those gaps.
How did you start this? Because I know you did this years ago, and it's turned into this huge portal. It's kind of like the Drudge Report, if you will. As a matter of fact, you ripped off the look of it. How did you start it, and why?
Well, I saw this. I was working as a reporter at KOA at the time, and I saw this story where a TV station was going to start linking to its competitor's product. And I thought, that's genius, because now all I have to do is go to this one TV station, and I get all of the TV station's content, right? I don't have to go to 4 or 5 or however many. And that's when the idea hit me. You know, someone needs to do a Drudge Report style aggregator to where you just hit that one site. And admittedly, we miss stuff every now and then. I wish we didn't. It's just a 2-man operation, but that's also the good side of it. It's a 2-man operation, so it's, you know, it's not unwieldy. It's not huge.
But you go around and you look through all the local newspapers and also other local bloggers and pick out stories of that should be picked out, just like the Westminster scam.
Right. Now that came to us from a tip, but we are fortunate that we've developed relationships with a lot of local bloggers. There's one that I'd single out. His name's Tony. He blogs on Adams County.
His name is
Tony Rigatoni in Adams County. He does great Adams County related blogging. He has scooped the mainstream media on several occasions. But let me make a point about something Dominic's talking about this consolidation of money. I do think smaller papers are doing a little bit better, mainly because their advertising base is still there, right? And their staffs were pretty lean to begin with. And those are the online outlets that can afford to put up a paywall, right? I'm not going to buy a paywall to the Craig Daily Press, but everyone in Craig is. Everyone in Craig is, you know? And they're also still going to get the paper. Why? Because their grandson or granddaughter's picture of the T-ball game is in the paper, and they're going to clip that and put it on the wall too.
There are over 3,400 governments in Colorado. And proportionally, the state government, by design, is actually pretty small. And that's why we're always 49th in this and 49th in that. But when it comes to local tax burden, we are 7th highest tax burden in the country, because we have all these little governments, and there's nobody covering them. Do you see a model that could pop up that could ever fix it? I know the blog you do on
CBS Denver.
CBS Denver, you know, you're able to take on a lot of these issues, but who fills that gap, or does it ever get filled?
I'm not sure if it ever gets filled to the way it used to be, but I think Todd brings up a very good point about the smaller community newspapers really making a big imprint. I am a proud former Wheat Ridge Sentinel newspaper paperboy back when it was just this.
Did you have the little thing where you tear off the out of the book?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Had the whole thing. I was very proud of that. But they are really making it a resurgence because that's where you're going to read about what's going on in your city council and what kind of shenanigans you should keep up with, because the Wheat Ridge City Council is not going to make the Denver Post, even if they had 5 more reporters. So it's those newspapers.
They had 5 more pages.
Right. So, but it's also the different citizens in each of these cities deciding they're going to speak up. No one's going to suddenly make their own newspaper or have their own news organization. But if, like Tony in Adams County, deciding I am going to keep up with what's going on, that will help. Will it replace everything? No, but frankly, it's going to take people to get fed up. They're going to have to say, like, what happened when I wasn't looking? That will encourage
I'm looking
it.
forward to someday being a grandfather and explaining that we would have kids riding around on bicycles, throwing wads of paper at houses, and that's how we figured out what
and getting
was
paid
going
for
on.
it.
Yeah. All right, so you had this idea years ago, and it's grown into something very substantial. You also have the opinion page, which is page 2 that you can click on, which is opinions and analysis. Give us some advice for people out there who are concerned about local government, and they go, wait, how do I one, start up a news service, and how do I get it in front of you?
Yeah, starting it up, is just going to take that fire in the belly, and you either have it or you don't. But the other thing that I would mention is, when it comes to doing news, is and you think you've got a scoop, don't be afraid to reach out to whoever that local politician or that local government is and make the call and ask them for their side of the story. Because whether they're spinning you or whether they're giving you what really happened, that's just the basics of doing a report that someone's going to take seriously. And so, no matter how small the community is, no matter how small the government is, reach out, make that ask, and at least give them the opportunity to tell their side of the story. That's the absolute key. And then I think second behind that is knowing how to use the Colorado Open Records Act to go out and get documents on your own.
So basically, if you do it without checking your facts, without reaching out to the other side, what you're doing is an opinion piece. You're not doing a report. Would that be a good way to put it?
Well, let me just say this. I heard this story one time about someone who obtained this document where a prison was buying, they were spending several $1,000s a month at a lingerie store, and this person thought they had a smoking gun.
If that's a problem?
Right. And so they published this document, as the legend goes. I have no idea if this is true or not. So, and then they found out that the lingerie store actually was a sole representative of a clothing manufacturer that made the orange jumpsuits. So they were a qualified retailer of the orange jumpsuits. And so there was no scandal. This is why even though you think you have the smoking gun or you think your rumor is accurate, reach out, make that call, let them at least give them the chance to tell their side of the story.
Talking about buying lingerie, let me ask you.
Really, I'm answering this table?
Yeah.
I mean, let me
as somebody who has outside hobbies. That's all I'm going to say. Outside interests. Talk to me a little bit about video as well, because you've been here long enough that television also has changed.
Totally changed.
And Channel 12 has always been the purveyor of local, ground-up kind of programming. But you're running into some of this as well. There's a YouTube channel now. People are putting out their own video casts and their own video reports. Are you going to go the way of Denver Post and it's going to be some YouTube channel?
No, but you can't ignore it. And I think, frankly, it's our job to be the folks that are going to bring everything together. We have a YouTube channel for Colorado Public Television. You can watch every episode of Colorado Inside Out and all the different things we're putting together.
That would double your viewership right there.
There you go, exactly. You and your mom are watching both those. So the other aspect of that is people are telling their own stories. So being on the internet is great, but that's one of a billion stories that are available. What if there was a broadcaster out there that wanted to pick out those great stories from the community, bring them together, and share them on a broadcast level as well? That is exactly what Colorado Public Television plans to do, and I think the kind of service we can provide to this community, that's what we've been doing really in our own way for the last 34 years. We can continue to do so.
Let me wrap it up with this. What I see with both of these, both Colorado Public Television and Complete Colorado, is while the mainstream is getting more centralized, Clear Channel, channel radio keeps building and becomes more syndicated shows. So the newspapers keep shrinking, so it's more national. There's more national coverage now than ever. Products like this are the resurgence of local reporting. Dominic, thank you. Scott, Todd, Frank, whatever your name is, thank you. Don. No. And thank you. Hey, learn more about the Independence Institute. That's independenceinstitute.org. Listen for me on KHOW Radio. We'll see you next week.